Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2, 1981 in Macomb, Mississippi and raised in Kentwood, Louisiana. As a child, Britney attended dance classes, and she was great at gymnastics, winning many competitions and the like. But, most of all, Britney loved to sing. At age 8, Britney tried out for the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, 1989, but was turned down due to her young age. This directed her to an off-Broadway show, Ruthless, for a 2-year run as the title character. At age 11, she again tried for the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, 1989, and, this time, made it as a Mouseketeer alongside many stars of today, Justin Timberlake and J.C. Chasez of NSYNC and Ryan Gosling. Her big break, however, came when she was signed as a jive recording artist in the late 90s. With the release of her debut album, Baby One More Time, in early 1999, Britney became an international success, selling 13 million copies of Baby, and 9 million, as of July 2001, of her sophomore album, Oops! I Did It Again, released in May of 2000. Britney was born to Lynn Spears and Jamie Spears. She has a big brother, Brian Spears, and a little sister, Jamie Lynn Spears. From a young age, Britney was always fixing to be a star with idols such as Madonna, Mariah Carey and Whitney Houston. The young Britney could always be heard singing, no matter what else was going on around her. After taking extensive dance and vocal lessons and performing in numerous talent shows and fairs, Britney auditioned for the all-new Mickey Mouse Club, 1989, TV series, 1989 to 1994. When she 8, however, she was too young to get the part. Instead, Britney, her mother and baby sister moved to New York where she starred in several TV adverts and an off-Broadway play, Ruthless, where she was understudy with Natalie Portman. Her love of music and dance took over and, 2 years later, she auditioned for a part on Mickey Mouse, again and, this time, won the part along with Christina Aguilera and Justin Timberlake. As a Mouseketeer, Britney received extensive training in dance, drama and singing and had to grow up a lot during that time. However, after the show was cancelled 2 years later, Britney returned home and did the normal teenager thing, attending pool parties, and she was also the homecoming queen. As a young teenager, Britney soon grew restless again and this time was desperate to become a star yet again. Again, she traveled to New York and sent out demo tapes to various labels including Sony and Mercury, but was turned down. It was Jive Records that finally took the young Britney on and set out on making her the star she is today. She hit the studio with writers, producers, such as Max Martin and Eric Foster White, and the result was her debut album. In late 1998, Jive released her debut single, Hit Me, Baby One More Time, which was a pop hit around the globe, accompanied by the 16-year-old first of many controversial acts. The video, which featured Britney dressed in a Catholic schoolgirl uniform, bearing her midriff, which was soon to become her trademark. Nonetheless, the single was a smash worldwide and Britney was instantly a household name. She toured with the popular boy band NSYNC and the single shot to the top of the charts for 3 weeks. Her debut album was released a few months later in early 1999 and, like the single, took to the top of the album charts, where it remained number 1 for 6 weeks. The album has now sold millions worldwide and is officially 14x platinum in the US. Her next controversial act, after the video, was to take the cover of Rolling Stone's magazine in a suggestive pose, but as Britney mania took off, the 17-year-old became more and more popular. Appealing to young girls, teenage boys and older men, Britney was on her way, yet nobody could have predicted at that time the impact she would have on pop culture. The second single, Sometimes, was released in June 1999, followed by the top 10 hit, Crazy, in September and From the Bottom of My Broken Heart, soon after. Britney ended 1999 selling over 10 million copies of her debut and, as the Billboard Top Female Pop Artist, Singles and Albums, Top New Pop Artist, Top Billboard 200 Album Artist and Top 100 Singles Artist, Female. The American Awards, MTV and Teen Choice Awards soon began rolling in and, in early 2000, Britney was nominated for 2 Grammy Awards. At just 18, Britney released her second album in 2000, the #1 smash, Oops! I Did It Again, and single of the same title, which topped the singles chart for 5 weeks. Smash singles, Stronger and Lucky, followed but, it was around this time, that Britney was beginning to raise more than a few eyebrows. It seemed some people weren't too happy with the message she was sending their impressionable young children. On one hand, Britney was the perfect picture of innocence, declaring herself a virgin until marriage, yet, on the other hand, she was sexually charged and provocative, with performance such as the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000, when her costume made her appear scantily clad. As the young woman was growing up, it seemed there was an internal conflict between her, her management and her mother, all pulling her in different directions. Yet the image the public saw was a gorgeous young woman, beautifully dressed and damn close to perfection, often labeled the pop princess around the world. Still, the awards kept rolling in and, in early 2001, Britney struck a lucrative deal with Pepsi-Cola for sponsorship and advertising. The 19-year-old was growing up fast, with the media constantly fixed on what she was and wasn't doing. Her rivalry with former fellow Mouseketeer Christina Aguilera and also her blossoming relationship with NSYNC heartthrob Justin Timberlake. Britney was keen that people saw her as a growing woman as she began to ready the public for her next LP release in late 2001. In November, she hit the top 10 with the sexually charged, I'm a Slave for You, which took a completely different turn in musical direction from her previous singles and, in the same month, released her third LP, self-titled, Britney, which shot to the top of the album's charts, breaking records for a female artist. Her performance of Slave at the MTV VMAs caused outrage among animal rights campaigners, as she performed with a live giant snake and wearing little herself. It was a far cry from the Britney of just 3 years ago, and perhaps the critical moment when what some people would say, she started going downhill. Sales of her third album, while impressive, were not nearly as high as her former releases, perhaps due to the increase of new pop female singers flooding the market, yet Britney, still incredibly popular, carried on. In early 2002, the 20-year-old Britney released, I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman, taken from the soundtrack of her debut movie Crosser. In November, she hit the top 10 with the sexually charged, I'm a Slave for You, which took a completely different turn in musical direction from her previous singles and, in the same month, released her third LP, self-titled, Britney, which shot to the top of the album's charts, breaking records for a female artist. Her performance of Slave at the MTV VMAs caused outrage among animal rights campaigners, as she performed with a live giant snake and wearing little herself. It was a far cry from the Britney of just 3 years ago, and perhaps the critical moment when what some people would say, she started going downhill. Sales of her third album, while impressive, were not nearly as high as her former releases, perhaps due to the increase of new pop female singers flooding the market, yet Britney, still incredibly popular, carried on. In early 2002, the 20-year-old Britney released "I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman", taken from the soundtrack of her debut movie Crossroads, 2002, which was released in February of that year. She soon after hit the charts with "Overprotected", and also toured worldwide on the "Dream Within a Dream" tour. Yet, it seemed it was all getting too much for Britney. Her 4-year relationship with Timberlake ended suddenly and very publicly, and she soon announced she was to take 6 months off. After all, she had achieved so much by such a young age and in such a short space of time. Her star was by no means fading, with Forbes declaring her the world's most powerful celebrity in mid-2002. While she may have been on a break from her career, she was by no means breaking from the media, who followed her relentlessly, even more keen to track her down and find out what she was up to. Britney was increasingly letting her pop princess crown slip, admitting she had lost her sacred virginity to Timberlake, outside of marriage. Britney could also be seen smoking and drinking to excess on wild nights out and famously breaking down in tears while being interviewed by Diane Sawyer about her parents, who were recently divorced, and her bitter split from Timberlake. Britney was linked to men such as Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit and openly kissed Colin Farrell at a movie premiere. However, she seemed to get herself back together for her new album released in late 2003. In a blitz of publicity which included the infamous "Like a Virgin" performance and Madonna kiss at the MTV Video Music Awards in August that year. The new album, In the Zone, was a bid to be seen as a woman and caused controversy with songs on it such as "Breathe on Me" and "Touch of My Hand", which was about masturbation. However, the appeal of Britney was still there and the album topped the Billboard 200 albums charts. The first single to be lifted was "Me Against the Music", a club hit that featured pop icon Madonna, and singing with her was a dream come true for Britney. Now 22, it seemed Britney was in a lot more control over her career, yet her personal life still seemed to be slipping. On January 3, 2004, Britney got married to childhood friend, Jason Alexander, in a Las Vegas ceremony. The incident shocked the world, especially when the marriage was annulled 2 days later and was described as a joke taken too far by her management. Britney soon released one of her biggest singles, Toxic, which topped various charts around the world including the UK and Canadian singles charts. The single was a smash hit and silenced any critics that said Britney no longer had what it took to make a comeback. She soon began her highly publicized and overtly sexual Onyx Hotel tour, which was cancelled a few months later after Britney damaged her knee during a video shoot and had to receive medical treatment. Other singles off the album included the gold-selling Every Time, which topped the UK singles charts and, like usual, also carried a fair amount of controversy for its video, which allegedly depicted the star committing suicide after a fight with her boyfriend, played by Stephen Dorff. However, this was changed to an accident in which she drowns yet reincarnates. It was around this time that Britney began dating Kevin Federline, a former backup dancer who she had taken on tour with her a few months previously. The snag here was that Kevin came with baggage, in the form of an ex-girlfriend, heavily pregnant Moesha, 1996, actress Shar Jackson, and their young child. Kevin and Shar split before the birth of their second child, Caleb. Britney and Kevin soon became engaged on June 7, 2004 and married on September 18, 2004 in a secret ceremony, but weren't officially married until October 6, 2004. That same month, Britney released a single off her upcoming Greatest Hits album, released in November 2004, a cover of Bobby Brown's 1988 hit, My Prerogative. Britney was a changed woman, no longer concerned with what the public thought of her or her appearance. She parted ways with her manager who she had had since she was 13, and was increasingly stepping out looking more trailer trash than multi-millionaire. In February 2005, Britney won her first Grammy for the single Toxic as Best Dance Recording. Just 2 months later, Britney and Kevin announced she was pregnant with their first child. A reality TV series Britney and Kevin, Chaotic, 2005, which featured the pair getting to know each other the previous year, leading up to their wedding, aired on UPN and eventually got a worldwide audience, despite harsh criticism. On September 14, 2005, Britney gave birth to their oldest son, Sean Preston Federline. In November of that year, she released a remix album, Be in the Mix, The Remixes. On September 12, 2006, Britney gave birth again to their youngest son, Jaden James Federline. Unfortunately, Britney and Kevin's marriage didn't last long after Jaden was born. Britney filed for divorce on November 7, 2006, and their divorce was finalized on July 30, 2007. Looking back over the years of this remarkable lady's career and life, it really is hard to imagine what the face of pop would look like without her. Here is a woman who has grown in the face of the glaring media, from innocent schoolgirl to sexual pop vixen to young ex-wife and mother. Who knows what is next for Britney? One thing is for certain. Britney has worked hard to get to where she is today and will continue to make her mark. Dear viewers, we have tried our best to provide you an informative video. Please comment that how did you find this video, because your opinion and comments are very important to us. If you like the video, please like and subscribe our channel so that you may be updated for our every informative video. Take care of your good self.